So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to an all-new episode of Holotheatre. I'm Dancer Tag Leon, also known as DTR Tag 1, coming to you live on this Tuesday, November 30th. We only got 3 episodes left, everybody, in 2022, so I think it's time to do something a little different, something we haven't done yet in the show. I know a lot of, like, the sitcoms do this, but I figure, you know what? Let's do a clip show. I'm going to highlight some of the funny, the cool, the different stuff that we've done throughout the year. I just think it's going to be interesting to look back, and because this year's been a fun year. We had a lot of good guests. There's been a lot going on in the tournament scene and everything, but it's definitely been a good year. So I think it is a good time to look back and see what we all have. But first, let's go ahead and get straight into what's going on with the Star Wars world, because there's still a lot going on card-wise. Like, I know the OCS just wrapped up last week. Justin Desai overtook Bastion Winklehouse to win that. So congrats to Justin. It was a good finals. Definitely two decks that I wasn't really foreseeing being played. Bastion played 0 Hour for light side, and Justin played Hitco. I wasn't really figuring that he was going to play Hitco, and I really didn't put Bastion on 0 Hour. So definitely interesting. But like I said, Justin won that. So next week we're going to have Justin Desai on, hopefully. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to have our second roundtable discussion as the tweak set 20 is going to be dropping right about the same time. So I figured, why not? We'll get a few people on. It's not going to be the same people. It's definitely going to be some different people on that one. So we're going to have that. And then, as always, we're going to skip the week of Christmas. And then on our last episode of the year, it's going to go. We're just going to have some of the guests on. We're going to have some of our key guests, some of our key co-hosts, and we're going to announce the guest of the year. That is going to be open starting next week as well. So everybody's going to get about a month or so to vote for that. And then, yeah, once we get our guests of the year, we'll get those set 3 boosters out. And it's going to be a fun little way to wrap up 2022. But first, like I said, let's go and see what's going on within the PC right now. So the Champions League is live, and right now we've only had 2 people play. So far, it's been David Center over Eric Hunter. David played a Obi-Wan commuting deck, and Eric played a Holotheatre operations deck. Definitely it was an interesting matchup, but that's the only match we've had so far. I don't know if everybody's going to be waiting for the tweak set, if everybody's just waiting until after the holiday, if you're in America. But definitely stay tuned to Twitch, Facebook, the forums, everything that the PC does. Like I said, any like social media that the PC does, we'll make sure that these get out there and people can watch some of the Champions League. Also, if you're interested in participating in Santa Jared Napolitano's Free Foil Fest, right now Tom Struthers is in the lead. He's played 11 games. He's sitting at 9-2. Timo Dussel also played 11 games, sitting at 8-3. And then we've had a few people finish up all their at 12 games. And we've had one person play 10 games. So you have until December 23rd. So right before Christmas to continue with this. So if you're going to play it, I would suggest it. Get some free foils out of it. Make sure you guys are naughty and are nice and not naughty. And then coming down the line, the 7th annual GIMP PC will be going on from January 2023 to March 2023. We've already had some of the prize support. Uncut sheets for the winner, or sealed OTSD box. Second's going to get whatever the first place winner does not select. The top 2 will get the event winner foil. Top 4 will get mugs. The top 8 get poker chips AI foils. There's going to be an AI slip. The Chimera alternate foil, that's going to be given out as well. Chip AI booster pack, Series 4. Green poker chips, Series 3. So definitely excited for that. If you guys are interested, the rules and everything, the information is not yet. However, you can sign up. All you got to do is say your real name, your email address, your forum name, and your GEP name. It is going to be match play as always. And this is pretty much going to be the NPC this year, everybody. So participate in it. This is the 7th time that Batmouse has been running this. So kudos to him. And I'm glad to see that the PC is supporting our sheriff in his GEMP leagues. And then the 2023 San Diego Open. Again, Star Wars CCG is returning to San Diego January 20th through the 22nd. The COVID policy has been posted. Prize support is out there. The theme is going to be, the pre-registration foil is going to be the beach. And then you get a pre-registration foil AI V-slip. You can either get Pulkoon, Hondo, Lor Santeca. Swag item is going to be Wayfarer style sunglasses with the PC branding. I mean that makes sense. You go to San Diego, you get yourself some free sunglasses. Why not? The Holotheatre San Diego regional San Diego Open for the main event is going to be the malls, the Dathomir Malls Chambers. I mean that makes sense, being that San Diego is close to Batmouse Land. So the team event, you're going to get Krennic, the Death Star Commandant, or the Blue 11, the pin, ceramic coffee mugs, and some other stuff. Definitely going to get some glass, get some trophies, get some other stuff. But yeah, definitely try and get out to this. It's going to be fun. Make sure you guys get registered for it. People are talking about going to Disneyland. I hear that they want to go see the Galaxy's Edge. So definitely get interested in on this. And then coming down the line, the online play week is going to be February 17th through the 26th. No actual information on that one just yet. However, we do have a date. So make sure that you guys sign up for that when it comes down the pipe. The OCS. We're going to have another OCS starting in soon. I know the tournament committee is diligently working on getting some dates for it. They're going to try and work around some of when the majors are, both for the Americans and for the Europeans, so that way nobody is left out of the OCS. And Worlds is going to be August 10th through the 13th. It is going to be in Morristown, New Jersey. You can find that out by going to the hotel link. Hyatt Regency in Morristown. So if you guys want to sign up for the hotel, go ahead. And again, let's go ahead and get some more PC donations made, everybody. I know the PC, we've been harping on this for weeks now. However, it goes to a good thing. Without the donations that people make towards the PC, we don't have all that wonderful streaming equipment that we do. We don't have all the foil, the prizes, the foils, these amazing deck boxes that you can only get by donating. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But like I said, there's a lot of cool stuff, including the much coveted Star Wars PC spatula. So make sure you guys sign up and donate to the PC. That way we can keep the lights on, keep everything going, get more prizes to everybody, better streaming equipment, better commentary, all the other good stuff that the PC has been doing for the last 20 plus years now. It's been a while. Like, if you think about it, like it still boggles my mind that the PC has been going on as long as it is. But you know what? I'm glad to support it and glad to keep it around. So like I said, tonight is going to be a little bit of a clip show, going back to see some of the highlights from this year. I've got 8 videos already loaded up and ready to go. These are some of the funnier ones, some of the better ones that I like. I would love to hear what you guys think of the rest of them, like what we've done this year. We've had 48. This is episode 48. So like I said, we're 3 episodes away from the end of the year. That will be episode. We finish out on 51. So definitely put a lot of work in this year. I want to thank everybody who, like I said, who has helped us along the way, who's been part of the guests. I want to especially thank Jared for taking that 3-week period and hosting when I was moving from California to Pennsylvania. But yeah, definitely a lot has happened during this time frame. So let's start off with our first episode. This was talking about the Outrider Cup. I don't know. That was a really big thing earlier this year. We had Team Europe versus Team America. And definitely a fun first episode with James Martin and Bill Kafer. So let's go ahead and look at that one.
That's later for Europe. Let's start with them.
Okay, I like that. So the European decks are Shadow Collective, That Thing's Operational, Holotheatre Ops, I Want That Map, Agents of Black Sun, and ISB Operations. That's for the dark side. For light side, they're going to go with He is the Chosen One, Communing, Let the Wookiee Win V, Quiet Mining Colony, All Allies, and The Galaxy May Need a Legend. Any surprises there?
I'm a little surprised to see That Thing's Operational in a format like this. I know a lot of people are kind of down on Darkside, and so that's kind of always right at the what's the word I want, the edge of playable type deck, on the fringe. So that's an interesting include, I think. Otherwise, I think the other 5 are pretty solid choices, right? I mean, Rob's just got the Helper. Map has been a solid deck for the better part of the past year. Everybody forgets Agents of Black Sun is very good.
Yeah.
ISB Operations has been around for the past 2 or 3 years, and then Shadow Collective did really well last year, despite dropping off at Worlds.
Yeah, and I think knowing some of the players on Team Europe, I can see many of those decks being some of their pets and favorites, and they pilot them very well. So, some even the choices that you may even worry about, I think there's a lot of experience there that's that will come in handy when it's time to match up and square off.
Yeah, like right off the bat, like you said, That Thing's Operational, or TTO, has a lot of bullets for it. It has Relatively Unprotected. It has Escape Pod Combo. Map has just recently gotten a errata with Bow to the First Order, being that you can only pull a card from the use pile at your locate, or what is it, episode 7 locations. Those seems like the fact that those 2 decks are in there just seems a little bit surprising to me. But like you said, Map has been a consistent, strong deck, even though we've errated cards for it 4 times now. Shadow Collective, like you said, had a show. Didn't have much of a showing at Worlds, but it was popular for Nationals, so I can see that. Black Sun, popular deck. ISB, popular deck. As for the light side, no real surprises. Maybe Quiet Mining Colony. Not a lot of people are playing it outside of Batmouse. But again, this is Team Europe. I mean, Europeans love to do things a different way.
Yeah, I'm kind of, there's a couple of missions there that I'm kind of surprised by. I think No Idea would have been a very good deck to have in this format, but it's not there. I think, and Diplo is the other one that I'm kind of surprised at that it's not there, especially with the way the Europeans tend to play.
Yeah, the ones that I feel like I don't know, this is why I'm not part of the Outrider Cup, right? But Set Your Course for Alderaan on the dark side has been something that's been super popular, and as well as Diplo is one that I know a lot of people pilot well. So I'm a little surprised that both of them are out of here, but they know what they're doing as far as deck building. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Another deck I'm really surprised about is this deal's getting worse all the time. I know those guys, and I know a lot of people on Team America like that deck, so I'm surprised that that's not on there. No Y4 Ops, again, that's another deck. It seems like it's a very ground-based strategy, at least for Team Europe. So with the exception of the TTO deck, I don't see a lot of space oriented themes with these decks.
Well, I think ISB is going to be in space, and Map has pretty solid space, and
Yeah.
ROP space is kind of underrated, but yeah, definitely more ground centric.
But no, I'm definitely interested to see some of these decks, especially like the Quiet Mining Colony and the Old Allies. Old Allies has been a deck that I know the Europeans love. Silver Glen pilots it well. Basham can pilot it. Like I think anybody over in Europe can pilot that. Timo plays it, so I think that's going to be an interesting deck, and I'm definitely excited to see what these guys have. Like, and it's kind of interesting because like when I was told to post these, people said don't post like any specifics. So like with commuting, don't know if it's Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, or Yoda commuting. And don't know what Let the Wookiee Win is going to be. So that's going to be interesting.
Maybe it's Wookiees. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see some Wookiees. Give me some Wookiee decks. Like I played one of those decks. I forget who I played it. I played against a Wookiee deck in the Jawa Cup, and it was really fun. Like we need more helpers for Wookiees. We really do.
Hey, speaking of that, Quiet Mining Colony with the Wookiee Strangle and or excuse me, the Clouds combo, that might be where you see some of your Wookiees. So it's nice that there's a couple decks here. The Communion, Let the Wookiee Win, Quiet Mining Colony, the light side. There's a lot of spicy cards you could put into those decks and really surprise your opponent.
So we're not going to say who was playing what decks. So this is a little bit of a surprise for both teams. So like I'm not going to say, oh, Bastion is playing Set Your Course for Alderaan. No, this is all going to be random, and it's all going to come down to skill. I think that's the best way to do it.
All right, let's see some American decks.
Let's go. Yeah, we're gonna show off the American decks, and the American decks are Agents of the Black Sun, Bring It Before Me, The Steel is Getting Worse All the Time, Hunt Down and Destroy the Jedi, Carbon Chamber Testing, and Raltier Ops. For light side, we have Old Allies, Let the Wookiee Win V, Diplomatic Mission to Alderaan, the Galaxy May Need a Legend, You Can Either Profit by This, and Commuting. I forgot to put the V in there, so I'm really, really sorry. So,
yeah, I think this is interesting because I know that for a lot of last year, Bring 'Em Before Me was a big deck here, and then they do have This Deal is Getting Worse All the Time, which was a big deck last year as well. I was rather surprised by the omission of ISB and Shadow Collective. I thought those were pretty much locks.
Yeah, I agree. Like ISB, especially with Team America, I'm really surprised. I mean, you have Paul Myers who plays it. You have Justin Desai, whose teammate is Steve Baroni, and Steve Baroni loves his ISB. So those are interesting. Then you have like Agents of the Black Sun, and we know that Joe and Jared both played it at Worlds. So are they doing something weird that like they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna put it there, making you think that Joe is playing it when in reality Paul Myers is playing it of all people.
Yeah, there's some decks for both teams here that I immediately think, on at least on my end, that's the person that's going to be piloting that deck. So it'll be interesting to see with all of the play testing who's actually got what.
Yeah. Okay, so it's interesting. Okay, so here I am with Team Europe, the 2021 Outrider Cup winners. So let me start off by saying congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
So how did it feel to beat Team America? We'll start with Bastion. I mean, he's the team captain. You were on the previous team. You were on the 2019 one. So how did it feel to beat them
Yeah.
after 2019.
Yeah, Justin and Quirin and me, we were all three of us. We were on the team 2 years ago, and I think it was pretty close last time. I think we stopped when we were at 4 wins, but we could have gotten it to 5, and then it would have been 7-5 or something. But and we had Emil at that time, who, despite not being that familiar with GAMP, no diss on anybody else on the team, but he's pretty good. So I felt we were the underdogs this year, a little bit more so than last time, and it feels really good to still come through.
Yeah. Last time, you said it that you had Silver Glen, you had yourself, and Kieran was also on that team. You had Stefan and Tom Damon, who were also on that one. So, Justin, how did it feel to win this year after or this past year versus the 2019 year?
Oh, it was sweet, Dan. Very sweet. Not going to lie. I took a couple of in 2019. I won both my first games by like a reasonable margin, and then lost the subsequent ones. So I took a couple of hard losses in that one. So this feels good.
Despite the hard loss with your ISB. But I mean, if you look at it, we went 6-6 and went to tiebreakers, and Justin, you won your first game by like 1-4 or 3 or something. It was really, really close.
I wasn't expecting to win that one. If I'm honest, if anything, I was expecting to win the other matchup. So, but both were they weren't favourable, but they were okay.
I was going to say, like, I found that match against Joe Wilson with your ISB versus his. I want to say he was playing communing. I found that kind of fitting because you did the same thing to Brian Fred in the OCS.
I did.
Yeah,
yes,
you came down
I did acknowledge that in the chat, and I think Timo picked it up, but it was lost on Joe, who obviously hadn't watched the replay. But yeah,
he didn't get the joke. No,
no, he did not get the joke. So, Kieran, how did it feel for you, sir?
It was quite good. It was my first really competitive game since Worlds 2019, so I was really rusty, and as you could see, I was really slow. And I already talked to EBT about GAMP because in my perception, it got really slow, and when I was playing, I really could see the clock ticking down, and it was like, okay, when is my next action? But I was really glad to get the close win in the end because, as I saw afterwards, Timo was really scared about the clock ticking down. But I was especially happy to win against Paul, not letting him get the timed win. And I was totally happy with going 1-1. We tested the other matchup, communing against CCT, and it didn't really work out that well with that build, so I was fine going 1-1, and we had a really, really nice start. So at the end it got really, really close when we lost our lead, but when we had the tie, when we had like 6-6, I personally was really confident in Bastian because he won against Joe in the past lots of times, so. I'm happy.
So how does it? So the new guys, Timo, Crypto, and Miguel. You guys came out. Crypto, you had made it. Miguel, you took over for Fernando's spot, and Timo, you were the captain pick. So how did it feel?
No, I was the captain pick.
Oh,
I was the captain
Crypto,
pick. It's Dylan that it's Timo who made it.
No,
I think it were 3 captain picks at the end.
So how did it feel for you guys, especially like you guys weren't there for 2019, but you guys were there for this year?
Well, for me, to be honest with you, I lost both games. Joe crushed me like there's no tomorrow, really. So I was really, to be honest, he's my teammate, so I was a little bit torn in the finals, but I I actually supported Bastion in this one, and I was really glad he beat Joe there to pull it for the team. The game against Justin, it was close. I think he played it really well. I made a couple of mistakes in space, throwing away my ships, so I was a little bit disappointed with that. But I think the captain pulled this one for us, so I was really happy with the tiebreaker and how it ended. I think we have very close top players, to be honest with you. So there's not a big gap. We just play less, I guess, than Americans. So
I don't know. Timo seems like he plays like all the time. Part of me wonders, like, does Timo actually work, or is his job just playing on Gemp?
I mean, you have the wrong job if you don't have the time to play. So, yeah, what shall I say? For me, it was a really honor to be on the team. You have to consider that the last Outrider Cup 2019, I started playing in the summer. So, and now I'm on the team. And a half year ago, I wrote a thing in Slack as a joke, things I want to accomplish, top 16 OCS and Outrider Cup team. And here I am, made the top 16 in the OCS and played in the Outrider Cup. And so it was an honor to be on the team, and even better to win a game. I would have loved to win both games, of course, because if you get crushed like Justin, it's not hard to
Wow.
to get over that win, because he can't do anything. He just Joe had in this one game, he just had the cards, and he couldn't have done anything differently. But if you play
the one card, he played like that one spy, right? Yeah.
That one spy, then he missed the docking bay. So what can he done differently? But the second game where I lost, I think I could have made many things differently, and that's a little bit harder. So, but I won one. And Bastion took it over the goal line, or how you say it in English. So, yeah, great experience. Great to be on the team. Great to win, of course.
And Miguel, how about you, sir?
Yeah, for me, it has been a pleasure to take part in this experience. I've had a blast, but I've also felt very nervous. I haven't played competitively cards for a long time, for I think 8 or 9 years, and I had one match that I had to win, and one match I could lose, and don't let the team down. I played a lot of games myself at home with physical cards to prepare the map versus All Allies game, because Bastian said, no, there's no pressure, but you must win the game. So when I sit down, I was very nervous. Then I had a very easy game. I got very lucky with Matt not having the tracking us for the overwhelm, and that was the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, that was Team Europe. They all 6 members of the Team Europe Outrider Cup victory team got on to Holotheatre with me one day. We did a pre-recorded interview and we discussed their win. It was a great episode. It was the first time that we had multiple people like this on an episode, especially from Europe calling. So it wasn't the easiest thing, but it was definitely worthwhile, and definitely one of my favorite episodes of the year. I feel like it was. When I felt it like it was, to me, it was my episode of the year, just because those are guys that I really don't get to talk to a lot, but definitely one good episode. Moving on, one of the funniest episodes of the year was definitely the live from the Endo Grand Prix episode. We had Bill Kafer, Brad Reinhold, and Brian Fred. Brian Fred definitely stole the show with this episode. It was a fun episode. We all got to sit down, talk about like what people were planning on playing, and just pay attention because, like I said, this is probably one of the, if not the best episodes of the year.
All right, so Worst lives next to this famous high school, junior high?
It's not famous.
Okay.
Middle school.
Okay, there's a middle school, and we drive by it like, at least the first time I noticed it, I'm just like, oh, hey, Sacagawea. And Worst is just like, it's Sacagawea. I'm just like, all right, Worst. I'm pretty sure I know what Sacagawea is. I'm pretty sure it's when you have Herat down and somebody plays like Speak with the Jedi Council and you just sense and your opponent's like, okay. And then you just draw a Premier Jawa and it's a 1, so you sense it with Herat and you're just like blowing out for the turn. So that's me and Worst. So then I don't know who Worst and I pick up the next day. I think it's who do it? It wasn't you the very next. On Tuesday we picked up.
Brad?
Yeah, we picked it. Well, okay, we picked it. Well, whenever we drove by.
First it was Schoenthal, then we got Brad. Yeah, it was Brad.
So I think when we drove to get Kessling, maybe. Yeah. We went by it again with a different person in the car. I was like, oh, hey, Sacagawea. And the person sees it. There's like, hey, what's it? This happened 3 times.
It's not Sacagawea.
It's like, I'm pretty sure it's Sacagawea. I was like, okay, detective. And I was like, don't you know what Sacagawea is? It's when you have Herat on the table, and your opponent plays some interrupt, play Speak with the Jedi Council, and you play Sense, and they're like, sure? And then you just draw a Premier Jawa who's Destiny 1 and sense it, and they're just blowing out. And this was the 3rd time, because the 3rd time is when it was the 3 of us in Brinson. Yeah, then the 3rd time we drive by it, I'm just like, oh, Sacagawea. And this time Brinson's like, it's Sacagawea. And I'm just like, no, Steve. It's clearly Sacagawea. I've told these guys, it's when you have Herat down, and they play some interrupt, and you sense it, and then draw a Jawa for Destiny. And they're just like, what the
then
fuck?
We had to start looking up the card.
And then Mike's like, hold on. He's like, what does Herat do? And I'm just like, I don't know. I was like, he might be one of those 3 ability Jawas. I think it's like Witten and Kalit are 3 ability.
But he's got the text that he gets his control.
And I didn't remember any of the text. I'm just like, I even spelled it wrong. And he's like, oh, it's not Herat, it's Herit. It has an A in it. I'm just like, oh, okay. And he reads, he's like, oh, he's 3 ability. And then he's like, oh, shit. He's like, if you have an Utini and 3 Jawas on the table, you can play Utini to do some. I can't remember all of it. Cancel something or cancel control. I'm just like, holy shit. So when you play Sense and they try and play Alter to cancel your Sense with Herat, you just play a Utini and cancel their control. And then you draw a Jawa for Destiny and Sense it. And they're just like, how many cards are we going to lose this turn to Herat? So that's the story of Sacagawea.
There you have it.
So that is the infamous Sacagawea story, live from the mouth of Brian Fred. Again, that was from the Endor Grand Prix right before the main event. As you can see, there was many drinks being flown. Definitely a great time, and that's just a little inkling of what goes on at main events. So definitely make sure, if you're watching, you get out there and you play in some main events. You just go. Like, you don't have to play. You can help out. But they're always fun. Our next clip is from the interview that Jared Napolitano did with the GOAT himself, Johnny Chu. Jared was, he graciously stepped in for about a 3-week period while I was moving across country. And here's just one of the little interviews that he did. Again, this is Jared and Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the last Worlds I went to. It was definitely pre-pandemic, maybe 2018 or 17.
Because 19 was Euros. I don't think you went to that one, right?
Yeah, so I didn't go do that. But I've been in touch with Justin. I know he's still been playing, Justin Desai, and we talk, like once a year or something, just to see how we're doing. And I tried to get back in. I was free during the pandemic, like kind of a lot of us were. And Worlds was, I think, in January or something, and like the set that came out with Huntdown V and Shadow Collective came out, and so Justin was trying to get back. He tries to get me back in from time to time, and I looked at it and I spent about a month trying to build decks and stuff. But I think for me, the modern game is so fast. Like by turn 2, if you're not activating, 12 to 15 and threatening a drain of 2 plus, like you're doing something wrong. And so what I like about the old formats is that it's just the game is slower. It's like chess. Like I like the opening in chess a lot, and there's, in my opinion, there's a lot of room for variety in that. And I was finding, at least for that format, and that was pre-errata Huntdown V, like every light deck started with 2 versions, and I didn't love that. And what I like about the retro, so Justin told me about the retro event, and I didn't off the top of my head know what the top decks were or whatever. I mean, I don't, but yeah, it was interesting. I still love the game. I played a game with my kids at home. They're like 11 and 9 now, and so my boys. So I thought it'd be a good way to get them into the game. I brought them to a tournament in Minnesota over the last summer, and they really enjoyed that. So I thought it'd be a good way to get them in, and then I can't play the game without like taking it seriously. So it's like, then I spent a lot of time building decks, and so I got sucked back in.
Yeah, that's cool. With the retro event is neat, just because you see it from a different angle. That was one of the things. I mean, maybe we'll bounce around a little bit here, but one of the things I definitely wanted to ask you is, I mean, the skeptic might say of that Decipher cards only format that like you'd have to play Senate or Combat or you're going to lose. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case. It looked like Steve submitted a Huntdown. You submitted a Watch Your Step for the top 4. Watch Your Step seems pretty decent still in that. I guess as you were playing your games, what were your take on the meta now, 20 years later, kind of?
Yeah, again, I had no idea what to expect, but I was Senate and Combat seemed to be kind of the clear top decks. Senate for dark, Combat for light. But yeah, like because the game is slower. I mean, Senate's still pretty fast, but since the game is slower, like there's room. So the Watch Your Step, I feel like Watch Your Step is like historically bad against Senate, but I tried to build a version that could hang. Obviously there are shields for a reason, and there are a lot of shields for in open, for a good reason. And so it's kind of fun to kind of go back to the old that meta where there are shields, but it's like, they're limited. I think Senate needs a shield or 3. And I remember like, like the different Senate shields over the years, to get to where we are now with open. I mean, that there's a good reason for those for sure, but I enjoyed them. I mean, I played Senate in Combat mostly in the qualifying round, but I just didn't want to play Combat, and I felt like it, just like any match play format, you can tech for certain decks, and you saw that with Justin and Steve. Their light side Senate decks are like hard anti-Senate. So then I still wanted to play Dark Senate because I still thought it was the best deck, and so I had to try to come up with a strategy that could hang against the hard anti-decks, and I wasn't sure what Casey was going to play. So the way we approached it was just since Justin, Steve, and I were all in the top 4, like we just wanted to make sure. Sorry, Casey. Since he went 11 and 1, it's like we wanted to make sure we could handle Casey. So that was a little bit of the spread, the reason too, because we thought if he played something that was hard anti-Senate, if we were all in Senate, that wouldn't make any sense. So Steve played the Huntdown. And that was a little bit of the rationale behind Watch Your Step too. Although I was surprised one of us didn't play Combat, but Justin toyed with it for a while. But the Lights at Senate made a lot of sense.
Yeah, and just anyone watching, the deck lists are on their website. They're a jump-in portable format, so everyone could check out the top 4 list that way. And then there was of course the dynamic, which natural to happen. You guys have a team of ridiculously strong players, so it's probably happened many times over the years where you guys get in this top 4 match play situation and kind of like a team approach, which is neat. I know some people I'm sure want to see the match played out, but I can understand how it could be pretty awkward. And even your game with Justin probably was, you guys know each other's decks and all that, so it's tricky, right?
It was tricky, and my kids were clamoring they wanted the sheet, the uncut. We have like a room of like uncut sheets, and of course not the the rare dark. I mean, that's a nice sheet, but again, it just made the most sense to split like from a team perspective, and there wasn't any it's awkwardness. You don't ever want to like tech for your teammates. And we're all we're older, we're busy, and we didn't want to approach it that way.
Right, for sure. Yeah, especially in the match play angle, because then it gets pretty crazy. But yeah, so I know a lot of people come back to the game, come into the game, they take this approach of maybe, let me learn Premier to New Hope, let me add on sets. And I kind of think, I think that's one extreme. On the other end, the other extreme would be just jump into open, which is pretty overwhelming. So I kind of think these like Premier to Death Star 2, Premier to maybe Decipher cards only to some extent, and then maybe layering in some stuff is kind of a neat way to bridge it. But yeah, that was one of the things I thought as I was playing my games. Like, I just want the Senate shield, I just want the combat shield, and I just want the Watch Your Step shield. If I can almost have those three, I feel like it would do a lot, right?
Yeah, I think there's room for a format like that, like a custom format. And if people like Decipher only, but they want to see what it would be like without Senate being like 99% of the decks, I mean, I would be down for any kind of, custom approach. I mean, and even we talked about that like in years past about like what to do about Redux or a reset or something, and what do we do with the Decipher cards like Blizzard 4, Hanshui Falcon, the ones that are clearly over the power curve, and there at least in the past had been discussion about maybe not doing, not having those around, and I think there's always room for for something like that. Especially with Jump Out, where it's so easy to just.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know Steve Skilton tried like called it a limited resources format, but I think his was. It's tough getting the right balance. If you don't want to be too many, X listed cards.
Totally.
You want to keep it relatively simple and not have the meta so foreign, but also solve some of the issues. But yeah, let me ask you. So how have you been kind of training your kids how to play? Have you done kind of the build up approach, or I know Walsh has had some pretty neat tutorials or approaches that he's conveyed and used in his school for all these years?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so I like during the pandemic, I think I sent Gogolin like $60 or something, and he just sent like a box of commons, a box of cards. So we don't have a ton of cards. Like I have a lot of my cards. I don't really want to just open the spigot and let them have all my cards. I'm not there yet. But they built a collection. Like Gogolin sent a lot of good, just a spread, like just chunks of cards. So the three of us are just playing. We made decks out of those cards for a while, and then because of that Minnesota tournament, that was, I think, I don't remember the format. There were shields, but it was, I think, Decipher only or something like that. It was something like that, but there were shields, so it was a bit of a hybrid. But I feel like these tournaments that you guys are doing now that offer rares and stuff, and of course at the Minnesota event, like people were super generous and they gave like my kids a lot of commons, a lot of rares too. I mean, the Minnesota crew is really nice, but I'm kind of viewing these formats as a way to build up their collection, and we're pretty strict about screen time, so they don't get a ton of screen time, and so it's way easier to play with the cards they have than play open. But they go on and they build decks with like clones and like all sorts of stuff, and we don't really have I don't have a method, but every card they read is another card that they know, so at this point, I also have like a binder with like every card, like we all have a set of something, and so like they'll flip through that and like
all right. The off limits, the collector's collection, right?
Totally. And I'm hoping to take them to Worlds this year. I don't know if I can get time off from work, but I'm not sure if I'm going to play myself. Kind of depends on. I'll spend some time with the Meadow over the summer, but I'm happy to go and dad it. I mean, we were all, kids at some point playing this game, and our parents had a role in that. And so it's like, if I take them and they have a good time and I can commentate or something, I can just play some sealed events. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
So again, that was Jared interviewing Johnny Chu. Great interview. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, I strongly suggest it. Just listening to Johnny talk about the game and what he's doing with it and everything, and especially about his kids. Like if you went to Worlds this year, Johnny did bring his kids. He did play. He didn't make a top 8, but he ended up winning the consolation. But I'll tell you what, though, his kids had a hell of a time. They're both great kids, and I really I'm watching their careers with great interest. And up next, we're going to go back to Brian Fred. He came on right after I got to Pittsburgh. He was our first guest. We did a little bit of talking about collecting and B. Fred and his store and everything. But this is probably my favorite part of the interview that we did with him. So here it is.
So, I mean, I just sort of have this, I guess. It's like they're limbo. They're neither mine. They're not for sale, but they're not for sale. I know it's like weird, but there's stuff that's just like sort of there. It's like, yeah, I have this, but I don't really, my collection is my signed cards and everything that people that those are what I collect. I collect memories. I collect my TTO that's signed here. and on the back it just has a sticker that says "Brilliant," but that never gets flipped over when you're playing TTO. And I got green eggs and ham, one of the Death Star 2 sectors that Jan Westergaard has drawn for me. But that's what I collect, if anything, is I collect memories. So if I ask you to sign a card or 2 or 3, that would be lovely.
Justin Desai wants to know how much for the how much for the memories with Brenson's collages. Collages.
I was actually going to. I knew Justin would get a kick out of it, so I'm actually just going to stand up, and I don't know if we can see the collage. This is what Justin's talking about. My mom actually wanted to get Justin on there too, but Justin and I weren't ever the closest. We weren't Star Wars tournament fiends. I don't know if you can see the.
He wants you to show the poem.
The what?
The poem.
Oh, let's see. I don't know if you can see that. Can you guys see that right here?
We can. Yeah, we see there's writing. Go ahead and read it to us.
You want me to read it to you?
Yes.
It says, early mornings, comma, intelligent looks, comma, crowded hotel rooms, comma, late nights, comma, a few fights, comma, or at least nasty words in what are those brackets? A long flight, and finally that win in Seattle that led to the World Championship. So that was mostly these were from 1999, where the last year that they actually had like really awesome, like they really like did it for the people who qualified, like paid for everything, hotel room for the whole thing, flight for everything. And I in 98 made 2 Gen Con. I made top 2 and lost, and then we drove 28 hours to Winnipeg, and I made the finals there and lost. And then in 99, I got top 8 in every qualifier I played in, but they cut it down to only having 1 qualifier per regional then, when years before that there had been 3. But I got top 8, maybe not at Gen Con, but I got top 8 at every other one I played in, and that was the last. They did a last chance qualifier that year, and we flew out to Seattle. Kirk, Joe Allreed, and myself, and stayed with Derek Snook, which people that probably don't know that name, but he was a local guy that moved to Seattle. And I lost every single game of playtesting leading up to that while we were there at the thing, and then went 6-0 in the Open and won the first game of the finals against Doug Harvilla by something like 13. And in the second game, it wasn't looking like great for me. And then at one point, I thought I could get him under 13, but at one point he drew enough cards where he was down to only having 11 cards in his hand. And this was back before there was like Weeses and people playing all these recycling interrupts and stuff. So I just sort of Stone Cold looked at him and just drew cards one at a time, waiting for him to play, and he used interrupts, and he never did. And I was like, all right, you win. And I stuck my hand out, but I won. Obviously, I won by more, so
yeah,
that was a nice feeling. And yeah, that was the first time I qualified for Worlds.
And like I said, that was B. Fred, our first interview after I moved back to Pittsburgh. Coming up now is the second time that we did a 6-person get-together. Actually, this was a 5-person get-together, including myself. This was a roundtable discussion talking about the meta for the European Championship that Emil won. So let's go ahead and get into that. We had Joe Olsen, Chris Kelly, Drew Lichtenstein, Jared Napolitano, and Brad Reinhold. Talk about a collection of great guys. Nah, the fact that you guys are keeping an eye on the meta is great, and it just shows that you're putting in due diligence in a game that you guys love.
Yep.
So, at this point, give us a top 8. We'll start with Joe.
I will, instead of all of us giving a top 8, I'll give 1 player, and each person can add 1 player.
Okay.
I'll go faster.
I like that. That's different. The only thing is there's 5 of you.
World or Euro?
Yeah, we'll loop around.
Yeah, for Euros.
Euros. Bastion, I'm gonna take the bold call and say I think he'll make the top 8.
Okay. Chris,
who do you pick?
After that brave pick, I don't know how to follow. I hate doing this because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings by not picking them. I'll just say Emil. Emil is obviously one of the best players of all time, and he's one of my best friends in this game. So I've been through war with that guy on the other side of things. So I'll pick Emil with no disrespect to anyone else. There's a lot of great players, but
okay,
that's what I go for.
The surprise of no one, I'll pick Mike. Definitely. Not the other person named Mike who I don't know who I picked for the 10-point star on my fantasy team.
You guys are brave.
I'll be honest, I'm really torn. Like, I love Brian Fred, and I would normally pick him, but I think I have to go with Timo Dussel, who's on my team now.
Okay, that's 4 right there. So we got 3 left. Jared?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kessling. He's just been on fire.
Drew, what was...
Kessling's already picked.
Yep. Kessling's picked.
He said Mike.
Oh, my bad. I heard Fred's name as I was looking at the list.
To be fair, though, we do have Dutch Mike and we have American Mike.
Which I clarified.
Dutch Mike.
I'm taking Dutch Mike on the wheel to run up my fantasy.
Yeah. I'll go with Kieran. Kieran always does really well.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay, Joe.
Take the obvious one. Yep.
Zemo would be my number 2 pick after Bastion, so I can't believe he's still available to draft here.
I like how you're in draft mode already, like for this.
I mean, Taco Bell is trying to get NFL draft picks in the chat.
He is.
Don't draft just running backs. That's what I learned. So who's the 8th one?
We'll skip Chris Kelly because he's clearly uncomfortable with this game.
Yeah,
and now
we'll
you
skip Chris.
Well, I feel obligated to pick Dutch Mike. Poor Dutch Mike. I'm picking Mike, but not him. So I'm going with Dutch Mike. He's my man, bro.
Chris Kelly, I love your heart. You're just so compassionate. You're just like you're feeling for Dutch Mike here, which I'm sure would not be offending.
So much love on Holotheatre.
Yeah.
Is it on me to pick?
What do we have? 6 now?
So we got Bastion, Emil, Timo, Kieran, Kessling, and Zemoat.
Which are 7 or 6 of the 8 top 8 by fantasy points. So no surprises.
Yeah, no surprises.
I'll take Miguel.
Don't make me work. I'm gonna pick Brian Fred.
Okay.
Fred.
Okay. And Drew, you said Miguel.
Fred, round it out. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So I like that. That's a solid top 8. Okay, so again, thanks to those guys. And funny enough, the guy who picked Emil was Chris Kelly, and Emil ended up winning. So Chris Kelly, the guy who doesn't like to pick anybody, actually picked the winner. So kudos to Chris for stepping up and picking a winner. Our next clip is, I think, one that everybody knows is going to be coming. It is going to be Kendall Holman talking about his Out of Nowhere award on the 2022 Hollies. That was a great episode, had many winners. I think Kendall schlepping out to a Chili's was the highlight of the show.
Okay. So I don't remember who the nominees are.
The nominees are Brandon Thompson for bringing two-player game decks to a tournament. Devin Hubner for creating your favorite new card, the Tusken Raider with hunting rifle. Fatty's Jar Jar special.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
That was amazing. Carl for being an amazing rookie. And the Masasi Training Temple for putting out nearly 50 videos. So I'm actually going to Slack you the winner, and then you can announce it. Okay, sir?
Let me find Slack. Okay. I'm on Slack.
I should have waited to have Puppet Chris Kelly announce this one.
Yeah, you should. Where is he?
He is on the floor, crumpled up, and my arm is hot. All right. This is a surprise to even me.
Yeah. So the winner of your Out of Nowhere award is
Andy, Masashi Training Temple,
for putting out nearly 50 videos. That's
a lot of videos.
That's a lot of videos.
And I'm sure he's in bed right now because it's like 3 o'clock in the morning in the United Kingdom.
Yeah. So he's definitely not watching.
Yeah. Maybe he'll watch it in the morning.
But I will say this though, definitely deserved. Like the fact that he has toiled endlessly to create nearly 50 videos. He probably put out more since this was put out this year.
He definitely has. He has put out a couple of videos in the last few weeks. Because he was doing the Naboo regionals coverage. I think when we announced it, and he was still releasing videos. Definitely. Masashi Training Temple is a great place for Star Wars CCG content. Yeah. There's there's a lot. You guys all obviously know Holotheatre. A lot of people listen to my podcasts, and we get there's a lot of attention. But there are other people that create content, and actually Fatty's videos too are a lot of fun. Fatty's are tend to be real short, except for when they're amazing works of alternative comedy.
Yeah. Go watch.
But
just go watch these videos.
Yeah, Andy's videos are great, and he's got that British accent, so you feel like you're having a spot of tea. Good.
Okay, so that was our clip from the Hollies. We'll make sure we'll be doing this next year. The Hollies are always fun. I don't care anybody who says any otherwise. If you say otherwise, you're just a big old stick in the mud. The Hollies are a great time. And then our last clip of the evening is from only a few episodes ago when we had Justin Desai on talking about his World Championship. Three-time World Champ Justin Desai, who is also your OCS champion.
No, it was certainly, I was talking to Steve this afternoon, actually. It really worked out almost exactly how we draw it up. I mean, nothing could have worked out better. I mean, I won, and Matt coming in second was great, sort of showing that our sort of new team dynamic is working out well. It didn't work so much in 2021, but the entire year, not just Worlds in 2022, has really been great. The OCS has been great. The Worlds,
you're top seeded for OCS.
Top seed for OCS, and Matt was number 2, and then the Worlds echoed the same thing. And I think Joe's team had been doing really well, and prior to that, for a long stretch, I think the KTAD with me and Johnny at the top, obviously Steve and Mike too, was sort of regarded as the top team for a long stretch. And then with Mike not playing at all anymore, Johnny retiring essentially, Steve being sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, we had a little dip. So then this year being sort of the comeback was something that I think I personally wanted to see if I could do it, if I could come back to feeling like I was better than other people at this game, and it kind of worked itself out on a week and a half ago.
Okay, so again, that was our last clip of the evening. We got a lot of stuff. Like I said, this is just a small handful of what happened on Holotheatre. There's 43 other episodes that we haven't even looked at so far this year. But again, I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. That's all we have. Next week, we're going to hopefully going to get Justin Desai on again to talk about the OCS and what he's doing in retirement at this point. Maybe he's taking up golf. Maybe he's taking up painting. I don't know. Or maybe he's training the next generation of Star Wars CCG kids. So that way his and Johnny's kids can take down everybody in Worlds in 3 to 4 years. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, this was a fun little episode to do, just to take a look at what we did also throughout the year and everything. Like I said, next week is going to be Justin Desai, hopefully. And then in 2 weeks, once the tweak set comes out, we'll be showing off a new roundtable. So until then, everybody take care of yourselves. Enjoy the weekend. And as always, may the force be with you. Good night, everybody.